Okay guys, welcome back to the gym. Tonight we're going to have a Roth and a Russians clinic with Coach Datilio and Nickolas Merryman. I'm going to start with a regular warm-up and then we'll have the clinic at 5:30. Alright, let's have a good workout tonight. It's the weekend, so I don't mind if we go a little bit lighter. Alright, but we should do a full warm-up, make sure that your bodies are healthy. So we're just going to go standing or walking with wrist rolls. Single finger pull down stretches, left hand, first finger. Next finger. Ring finger. And pinky finger. Switch hands, first finger. Next finger. Ring finger. And pinky finger. Palm up, pull down stretch. And switch hands. And pinky up stretch. Switch hands. One arm on top of the other stretch. Switch arms. Left arm circle forward. And backward. Right arm circle forward. And backward. Double arm circles forward. And backward. One hand on top of the other stretch on your lower back, pushing through your back, pull those elbows back. Face the camera, arms above your head stretch, thumbs facing backwards, elbows and forearms behind your head, fingers on the way up and on the way down and on the way up, show from the side. And on the way down, on the way up, all the way to your tippy toes, on your heels and good presentation, on your tippy toes, fingers up, on your heels, good presentation, on your tippy toes, fingers up, on your heels, good presentation, hands on your waist, feet face in, and feet face out, and feet face in, and feet face out, and slow kick walks with your feet flexed, and kick down to your knee. And sideways kicks. Nice work, guys. Just trying to pick your heart rate up. Want to focus on more cardio than gymnastics related stuff, okay? Couple loops, but then get back to your jumping jacks. Get back to your running in place. Get that heart rate to go up. Okay, guys, you can start walking it out. Let's go through a quick stretch. One arm, pull your lats. Change from hollow to stretch. Switch arms. Pulling on your lats. Then open it up, stretching your obliques, stomach, hip flexors. Okay, dynamic stretch elbows. And hips. And knees. And Spider-Man left. Spider-Man right. Spider-Man left. Spider-Man right. Rest in the middle. Hands and knees, wrists. Face your fingers towards each other. Face your fingers away from each other. Face your fingers towards you. Push over, push gentle. Bend your knees and straighten them. Dave Tilley stretch. Switch legs. Keep back a little bit rounded, moving through those hips, stretching the quads and the front of the bottom leg. Okay, Yusuf, let's do pike stretches. Pointing your toes with your hands, keeping your back nice and straight. Just trying to feel a stretch, not necessarily trying to go down all the way. Separate your feet, left hand, left foot. Trying to point your toes with your hand and keep your legs straight with your other hand. Keeping your other toe point with your mind. Switch right hand, right foot. Separate your feet a little bit more, left hand, left foot. Right hand, right foot. Elbows in the middle, open up shoulders. Open up your back. Trying to keep your back as straight as you can right here, keeping your knees pointing up at the ceiling and toes pointed. All right, 90 degrees, left hand, left foot. Pointing your toe with your hands, keeping your knee straight with your other hand, keeping your back nice and straight. Right hand, right foot. Opening up that back. Elbows in the middle. Keep that back nice and straight. Keep those knees up, pointing at the ceiling, those toes pointed. Okay, nice and wide, left hand, left foot. Nice job, Yusuf. Right hand, right foot. Elbows in the middle, open everything up nice and tall. Opening those shoulders, opening the back nice and straight. Keeping the knees pointing at the ceiling, pointing those toes. Okay, Yusuf, let's do some shoulder stretches. That's it, guys. Slide all the way down to through your jam and push up to a bridge. That's it. Push through those shoulders. I'll really try to work on this flexibility, Jackson. Improve your gymnastics so much. Good job, Yusuf. Good job, Tarek. Nice work, Tarek. Nice work, Aiden. Omar, great. Right, it's great, Omar. It's going to help you get those shoulders above your head. Hands above your head, rather. Keep that back straight on your pirouettes. That's it, awesome. I got to really push through those elbows. Keep those arms nice and straight. Okay, push through those elbows. That's it, Austin. That's it, man. Just keep struggling every night to get that better. All right, Liam, nice work. Okay, guys. All right, let's do a couple of future star flexibility routines, and then we'll get to our first break a little early so that we can start with Nickolas and the Roth and Russian clinic. Okay, so let's go to Yusuf first as a good reminder. All right, let's get ready to go. I'll wait for Austin to be ready. I'll probably go through 3 or 4 of these. Okay, kick forward while lifting your arms. Go to a push-up shape, point your foot at the ceiling. Go to a push-up shape, right leg around. Hold your split. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. Face the middle. Hold your split. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. Hands in the middle. Legs 90 degrees. Pancake. Hold. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. Up and over, belly on the ground. Go right to a push-up shape. Right to a push-up shape. Left leg. Hold. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. Slide your right leg forward. Do a bridge. Hold. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. Slide down. Arms up and around forward. Stretch your shoulders. Hold 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. Slide your hands across the ground in front of your feet, opening up your shoulders. Hold 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. Sit up. Arms horizontal. Hold 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. Okay, let's do another. Okay. All right, here we go. Kick while lifting your arms forward. Go right to a push-up shape. Point your foot at the ceiling. Right leg forward. Hold 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. Turn, face the middle. Hold 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. On your bum, hands in the middle. Feet 90 degrees. Pancake. Hold 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. Up and over. Trying to keep your belly on the ground. It's probably not necessarily the case for everybody. Left leg forward. Hold 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. Slide your right leg forward. Push up to a bridge. Hold 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. Slide your feet down. Swing your arms up, forward, and around. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. Slide your hands across the ground, opening up your back. Hold 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. Okay, guys. Let's do one more and then we'll go to a quick break. Okay, Yusuf, let's look good now. Okay, kick while lifting your arms forward. Go to a Swedish fall. Point your foot at the ceiling. Go to a push-up shape. Right leg forward. Hold. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. Turn, face the middle. Hold. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. Sit on your bum. Feet 90 degrees. Arms parallel. Pancake. Hold. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. Up and over. Belly touching the ground if you can. Go right to a push-up shape. Left leg forward. Hold. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. Slide your right leg forward. Push up to a bridge. Hold. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. Slide all the way down. Arms up and forward and back. Hold. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. Slide your hands. Reach past your feet. Hold. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. Sit up. Arms horizontal. Go get a quick drink. Okay, guys, we're going to come back. I'm going to start the next segment of the show. We're joined by a couple of people that I'm going to introduce you to. We may be joined by another coach, Lou Datilio, in a couple of minutes if he gets on the call. But before we do that, I want to introduce you to somebody who's going to help me look at some video tonight. It's Nickolas Merryman. Nickolas Merryman was a gymnast at N.E.A.G. He's one of the best pommel horse guys that I've ever worked with. I have a lot of respect for his gymnastics. He's been on a number of elite team championships, and he just graduated from the University of Iowa. So I want to welcome Nickolas. Nickolas, maybe say hello to the guys real quick.
How's it going?
Okay, so these guys just went through warm-up, and we're ready to learn a little bit about circles and Russians and a Roth and woos. And I just made the phone call about 5 minutes ago, but we're actually joined by, okay, this is Bill Roth. This is the guy who invented the Roth. All right, so Bill, you're on mic. If you want to say hello to the guys, I know this is a little surprising to you, but if you just go with the flow, I'm going to go through circles and Russians and Roths with Nickolas and have a little bit of a clinic. So feel free to kind of keep yourself on mic, and if you have anything that you want to add, feel free to do so. Just kind of catch the vibe.
Yeah.
If you want to say hello to the guys, feel free.
Hey guys. Um, Good to see everybody. I hope everybody's staying safe through this crazy time. But I know I'm sure your coaches and everybody are doing a great job keeping you guys moving forward. So I'm glad to be a part. I might have to pop in and out.
Sure.
So please forgive me for that.
Sure. It's just an honor to have you. Just so you know that Bill was a gymnast at Temple and a great gymnast for sure. And one of my kind of the people that I looked up to as I went through high school and college gymnastics. So for me, I kind of get the goosebumps just even talking to him still. So I'm really happy
No,
to.
you're very kind. Too kind. Too kind.
Okay, so the first video clips that we're going to see are from Nickolas doing circles. Okay. All right, so we're going to show you just one circle that Nickolas does, okay? And you'll notice here a couple of different things, okay? First of all, just for clarity, he's got an arm sleeve on one arm. We'll call that the black arm, okay? And he's just got a regular arm, okay? So we'll refer to those two arms like that, the black arm and the regular arm, all right? But you'll notice here, you can see Nickolas's back, okay? And you also notice that his right leg is on top of his left leg. His belly is not facing the horse. His belly is facing the wall, to the right of him. And it might just look like circles are done with your belly facing down and your belly facing up, but that's actually not really the case. Okay, this is called a counter turn with your hips. And you got to maintain a counter turn with your hips. And if you notice here, he has a counter turn to the right, and you can still see his back. And here you can still see his back. And yet again, you can still see his back the entire circle. So if you can see his back the entire circle, then it's the case that his hips have always turned to that wall, that far wall. All right, in the rule book, it says that you can do a stretched or a hollow circle, but you cannot do a piked circle. So I don't necessarily want to get into the debate whether or not you should be stretched here or hollowed here, okay? But you must maintain control of your hips for sure. Nickolas, can you just give us a little bit of information as to maybe how you are controlling your hips or what the goal of your counter turn is?
Yeah, definitely. So pretty much the way that I control my hips through a circle is to always be leading with the hips. So if you look at each quarter position of the circle, like right there, the first thing to cross in front of my hands is my hips. And this allows for a circle that is a lot more elevated, like higher up from the horse, and it allows for better control of the circle, and the circle will also be faster because of this.
Okay, so let's take a look at another kind of circle. It's just going to be a front loop as opposed to a back loop, and you'll see almost the exact same thing. So you see his back the whole time here, and then you see his back and his back. All right, and never loses control of that hip shape. And that's one of the things that you see lots of guys struggle with. Omar, this is what we got to really focus on, making sure that you can control your hips. Now he's in a hollow here, but he was in a stretch in his front loops. Right? So I don't necessarily think that the debate is over the shape there. All right, I think that the debate is whether or not his hips are to the right or to the left. And right now they're clearly to the right. Okay, what are the similarities that you have, or are there any differences that you use in terms of front loops and back loops?
Well, for me, the biggest difference is that a back loop, you kind of have to be a little more elevated in the back than in the front. So the circle, instead of being perfectly flat like this, kind of shifts into a circle like this, where you're leaning more forward when your legs are in the back, and then not leaning so far back when your legs are in the front. And it's just opposite for the front loop, where you're leaning a little bit further back when your legs are in front, but not quite as far forward when your legs are on the back.
Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show you on the screen is we're going to show you a skill by arguably, I think, one of the best gymnasts on pommel horse of all time. His name is Shao Kin. And I have a bunch of still frames of him doing two different skills that everybody seems to be working on right now. The number one skill that he's going to do is a woo, which is very similar to a Roth. It's like a Roth 2 times in a row. And then he's going to do a Russian. Okay, so I'm just going to just show you the still frame here. All right, he's in his front loop here, and he's going to put one hand in the middle and another hand in the middle and one hand on the end. All right, and he's going to go into a triple Russian. That's 1, here's 2, and there's 3. Okay, a woo is a double Russian across the horse, and a Roth is a single Russian across the horse. Okay, and there's a couple of things I want you to notice. First of all, I want to talk a lot tonight about hand placement, where your hands are supposed to go. You notice his first hand, his left hand, goes on the side of the horse closest to us. And then he sweeps through, and his other hand goes on the same side of the horse, and his other hand is on the same side of the horse. And he keeps his hands on the same side of the horse. Now, I have a close-up of these hands in the Russians, all right? And I want to show you exactly what he's doing here, because I think his hand placement is incredibly important. All right, also, if you notice, the shape that he uses is perfectly straight on every circle. He has no circle change. His body shape from this direction is absolutely straight, but from another direction, it is not absolutely straight. And I think that's an interesting way that we can take a look at it. From sideways, he's perfectly straight. Okay, so let's look at the hands a little bit closer, okay? So as he finishes, this is what his hands look like in the woo. So this is his hands on the end that he begins on, and his fingers are on the edge, curled over the edge of the horse, facing the camera, all right? And then here's the next hand placement is here, boom, facing the camera, in a planche, facing the camera. And then his next hand placement is again right here. It'll show you facing the camera on the edge. And then the next hand placement is all the way here facing the camera again. So I started just noticing some things that were consistent about hand placement, and I'm wondering, Nickolas, how important is hand placement on a woo and a Roth skill?
Well, hand placement really is kind of everything for the skill, you know. It'll determine how much support you have and where your weight is directed onto the horse. And as you saw in that video that Dan was showing, you know, you have the horse here going up and down, and his hands all stayed along this side of the horse. Now, if his hand was starting to kind of travel this way, that wouldn't work, and that would mean that his weight is pushing off of the center of the horse, and you know, it still just can't work that way.
So if you take a look from this view, you'll see what he's talking about, okay? So let's back it up a little bit here. So right now he's clearly on the side of the horse facing me, facing us, the close side of the horse here. All right, and then from the top, it looks like this. So he's coming around, and then from the top, it looks like this. So his hands are on this side of the horse, the side of the horse towards the bottom of the screen. And then his hands continue on that side of the horse. All right, so it cannot cross the midline of the horse, any hand. All right, got to stay always on the side of the horse that's closer to the bottom of the screen. Okay? All right, so another thing that I noticed though here in this view, which is a little bit unique, is that he's definitely not in a straight body shape here. When you look at the same skill from the side, his body is straight sideways, but from the top it's curled, all right? What he's doing is he's leading with his shoulders. He's leading with his shoulders, okay? Right here, if you take a look at his number is right over the pommel, and it stays over the pommel, okay? But then when he puts his left hand on the horse, okay, look how far, it's still over the pommel. but then he puts his left hand on the horse, and watch how far it moves, right? In just that one hand placement. It's over the pommel, over the pommel, over the pommel now. And it just shifts all on the left arm. Okay, he just goes whoomp and everything. And then watch this. The left arm is going to touch the horse. And then watch how still the number is all the way on the left. On the right arm, the number is perfectly still over that pommel. Over the pommel. You see that? And then once his left hand gets on, he wedges his left arm against his side. And he torques his body with his shoulders and creates this torque and this rotation towards the end of the horse with his shoulders. Okay? So I think that what it does is it does a support and then a lunge, and your arm is kind of wedged actually against your side. And it just rotates around that, and then it supports again, and then here's the next lunge. So the lunge is happening only on the left arm. All right, Nickolas, do you feel that you lead with your shoulders? Is it a heel driving skill? What do you think of?
You know, the skill when I do it is a reverse Roth. So starting in back loops, the first part of the skill is initiated on the last quarter of the back loop with a strong heel drive and then a strong push down and backwards push down the horse, so that it initiates a weight shift down to the middle of the horse. From there, the weight continues to shift from the right hand, in this case the black arm, onto the regular one, and then from there, two hands stay as patient as possible. And then from there, once the weight is shifted over the left shoulder, that's when the right hand can reach again. But as you can see in this video, I start to pick up my left hand a little early off of the first pommel, which shifts my weight way in front of myself, which causes me to, do that leg separation at the end where I'm a little off balance and have to rush around with my shoulders.
Well, it really forces right here, like you said before, it forces you to be less stable because now you're only on one arm.
Mm-hmm.
And look at the lean forward on your right arm here, on the black arm here,
Yep.
compared to the lean forward here.
Right.
Here, you're much more up and down.
Yep.
And then your hand comes off the horse a little bit early here, right there, and makes you topple the opposite way, as opposed to really basing off of this left arm and getting on top of the right arm to continue the pivot onto the next pommel. So because of that, your shoulder is so low.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and you have to create a lot of energy, and you see your left arm is buckling here to compensate for the low part of the circle. All right, and that's why it breaks down a little bit. All right, so here's the last quarter of the circle. Talk us through it one more time, Nick.
Yeah, so last quarter of the circle, initiated with the heel drive, two hands as long as possible. And so right here, I would try to keep pushing down the horse in the direction which I'm traveling.
With your right arm.
Yep. And then there's a long heel drive and like check here type motion. So this is long on one arm, and then check here. You get in this position with both hands facing the same way on the same side of the horse, and then from there, it's a two-handed push down the horse. Where this is where you have the most control and support. So if you start picking up the leading hand too soon, if you're here, you pick this hand up, your weight's going to fall to this side. You have to be shifted already to this side before you pick this arm up to reach across. So that's why staying there with two hands allows for this weight to transfer across. And then from there, it's a quick reach over.
Okay, maybe we can have Yusuf warm up a couple of circles and stuff, and maybe show us a couple, and we can give him some feedback. Bill, do you have any comments or anything like that? Thumbs up, or do you have any?
Yeah, yeah. So a couple of different things. Dan, I actually just sent you. Fred actually sent me the video of my pommel horse routine with the original Roth. And what I mean by that is over, what's it been, 4 cycles of the FIG code. Nickolas, you actually do the variation of what the original Roth was. The original Roth started in back loops.
Okay.
From what, and this is where my coach was always frustrated, the Roth is classified as a 360-degree full travel.
Yep.
And then the Woo is double that. But now where it originally was starting in back loops, it now starts in, you can do it in front loops and you can do it in back loops. So they just kind of blanketed it and called it the Roth. The start back in the day used to be called the Belenki.
Yep.
Things have kind of evolved over the times. The biggest thing, Yusuf, as you are moving, you have to swing from your shoulders. The biggest thing that Nickolas is telling you to do is you've got to be able to shift your shoulder movement, but just like you're doing a Russian walk around and you're staying ahead of things, as you're traveling, you have to shift and stay ahead of what your body is doing. And I think, Dan, that overview shot of doing the Woo, it was a great example of the shoulder staying ahead of the rest of the body. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally.
Yeah.
It's something that I never really considered before. It's just this overhead shot really got me to understand that there's a real huge shift in, I guess, center of gravity, or just it's creating a lot of kinetic energy here that follows through with the feet on the long end.
Staying there with 2 hands allows for this weight to transfer across. And then from there, it's a quick reach over.
Okay, maybe we can have Yusuf warm up a couple of circles and stuff, and maybe show us a couple, and we can give him some feedback. Bill, do you have any comments or anything like that? Thumbs up, or do you have any?
Yeah. So a couple of different things. Dan, I actually just sent you. Fred actually sent me the video of my pommel horse routine with the original Roth. And what I mean by that is over, what's it been, 4 cycles of the FIG code. Nickolas, you actually do the variation of what the original Roth was. The original Roth started in back loops.
Okay.
From what, and this is where my coach was always frustrated, the Roth is classified as a 360-degree full travel.
Yep.
And then the Woo is double that. But now where it originally was starting in back loops, it now starts in, you can do it in front loops and you can do it in back loops. So they just kind of blanketed it and called it the Roth. The start back in the day used to be called the Belenki.
Yep.
Things have kind of evolved over the times. The biggest thing, Yusuf, as you are moving, you have to swing from your shoulders. The biggest thing that Nickolas is telling you to do is you've got to be able to shift your shoulder movement, but just like you're doing a Russian walk around and you're staying ahead of things, as you're traveling, you have to shift and stay ahead of what your body is doing. And I think, Dan, that overview shot of doing the Woo, it was a great example of the shoulder staying ahead of the rest of the body. You know what I mean?
Something that I never really considered before. It's just this overhead shot really got me to understand that there's a real huge shift in, I guess, center of gravity, or just it's creating a lot of kinetic energy here that follows through with the feet on the long end. Right? So while Yusuf is warming up, I want to talk to the guys really quickly about this picture right here and this series of screenshots. Jackson, Liam, the younger guys, okay? Now, if you look, this is the Russian that he does at the end of it. And it's the hand placements here, I think, are very important. All right? If you look, he's in a back loop here. And then this hand, his right hand is going to sweep all the way around, and it's going to go to a front loop. And then his right hand is going to sweep all the way around and do a back loop. And then it sweeps all the way around again and does its front loop. The thing I want you to notice, though, is how precise his hands are. They go in the exact same spot every time. And it's as if he has, like on the mushroom, he has those lines on the mushroom or the squares on the mushroom. And indeed, that's what he's doing. So here, I want you to pretend that you have two hands on each of the lines. I've been trying to get my guys, when they do a front more, that they're going to move their right hand, which is that right blue circle, to number 1. And then they're going to move the left hand to number 4. So it's kind of like a reverse pirouette. Okay, that's actually initiating the Russian with your left hand or your second hand if you go counterclockwise. And then there's another way of doing it where instead of reaching to number 1 with my right hand and then underneath to 4, you take your first hand and reach it all the way to number 2. And then drive your heels all the way to number 1. Okay, so 1 would be initiating with your right hand going to number 2. And if that's the case, your right hand is doing the movement. And the other hand would be your left hand, the left circle, moving to 4. So if my right hand moves to 2, that's doing a Russian with your first hand. And if your left hand moves to 4, that would be doing a Russian with your second hand. So I teach my guys number 1 to number 4. Bill, what do you think about the hand placement, and is it critical? Was that something that you worked on in the development of your Roth?
Yes, I like what you were talking about. Matthew and I were just sitting here, and he circles the opposite way. He circles clockwise, but I like what you say, again, because what it does is it in my opinion, the biggest thing, Dan, that you kept saying for the woo was he kept hitting that planche position, correct? And that should be a strong position for you in order to be able to do this. If you start shifting your shoulders too much, you're going away from the shape that you're your strongest in. So Dan, I would agree with what you were saying. I kind of wanted to ask Nickolas one real question.
Yeah.
As I'm watching a little bit of Yusuf warm up, Nickolas, as you do the Roth from back loops, let's call it, so I said it was a back in, front out.
Yep.
That front out part, what do you feel you're leading with? Your hips, your toes? What do you feel like you're leading with?
I feel, so you're talking about like the second half of it, correct?
Yeah, and the only reason I brought that up because I'm watching Yusuf, and his initial movement is going to be your second half.
Okay. Yeah. So for my second half, I go heel drive to here.
Yeah.
My initial movement is to kind of do a weight shift onto this side and then drive with kind of my shoulders and then kind of feel the tension through this side of my body as I come through.
Yeah. So that, and I think that just watching a little bit of Yusuf warm up, that's going to, I think, help him as he's traveling across. The biggest thing is you can't forget about your lower half of your body as you start to go. And I think that the pictures and what Dan had initially started with was phenomenal. He kept saying he's staying in one shape the whole time. The more you break in shape, the more you have to utilize different body parts. So that's why, Nickolas, I was asking you what you felt you were doing coming out of that second part.
Yep. So initiating from a front loop, the first step has to be a lot quicker than initiating it from a back loop, because from a front loop, if you're circling and you're in the back and then you step here for the front loop, and then you wait for your legs to come all the way like to a quarter position, and then you step, your shoulders are automatically going to be behind your legs, which kind of creates this backwards tilt. So if it initiates from the front loop, the first step has to be quick off this front support, and then like a driving forward motion.
Agree. And Yusuf, from a visual standpoint, again, think of what that overshot looked like. Dan was concentrating on what that guy's number, how it initially didn't move, and then when he got to the middle, it just shifted. So try to, as a visual, keep that in mind also.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first step is all technically correct, and it's a little hard to see it from that angle, and I'd have to video from the side and break it down a lot more. But what the most common issue with the Roth is picking up that second hand too early, which causes that weight shift to stop traveling down the horse and stay stuck in the middle, which on the first one I noticed you finish with kind of in back loop position, but your second hand was still in the center of the horse. So to me that kind of indicates that your weight is still in the middle of the horse rather than continuing to push down to the other end into back loops, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yusuf, Dan, can Yusuf do a Tong Fei?
Yes, sir. Yusuf.
And the reason why I asked that is listening to what Nickolas is saying. It's the Roth is a very quick movement of shifting and stay heading of your shoulders. I mean, ultimately the Tong Fei is just go. And as good as the Tong Fei is, that will absolutely help the Roth, if that makes sense. That's why I was just asking. I didn't know if he could.
Yeah, let's see one. I never really teach with shoulders like initiating. It's always been a heel drive. It's kind of like really changing the way that I think of Russians and circles. It's always been about the upper body, but that Shao Kin video is really changing the way that I think about the shoulders. Oh, okay, buddy. That looked pretty good. Pretty balanced.
I like that.
When I first started to do the Roth and it just started to create, one of the biggest things that Fred gave to me as advice was you want to keep distance. So as you are turning, people will tend to come down this way, meaning you will close the gap from your hands to your waist, which is closing your shoulder angle. If you think, again, I can't get back to what you said, Dan, which was it looked like it's the planche. He's swinging in a planche the whole time. So he keeps that angle open. The more you close, and that's why he always said swing from your shoulders, a heel drive tended to make me arch, which brought my waist down, closer to the pommel. And you want to stay up. So keeping the distance from the horse, think of it as a swinging planche. I don't know how else to describe it for you to better help you think about it. But Yusuf, what I'm watching, I love it. It looks great. Dan's right on point. I mean, just Dan, that visual from the top down, I think is awesome. I think from a visual standpoint, as you get to elements like this, seeing things more will better help.
So we have another coach on, just got here. Coach Lou just got in. So maybe we can show that top-down video that we've been talking so much about. And maybe Lou, if you have any couple of ideas or thoughts about it. We've just been really talking about this shoulder lean and this turn here, and how we noticed that there's very little motion in his shoulders while he's on this right arm, but then as soon as he shifts from here onto this left arm, there's a huge change in shoulder speed here and direction and location on the horse. And we were just talking about what, and then there's another one right here into the end. All right, so we were just talking about those two things. Do you have anything that you would like to add here with your Iowa Hawkeye shirt on? Woo woo.
Right on, Hawkeyes. Yeah. How you doing, Bill? I think the post and then pushing off that to make that weight shift is everything. Making sure that the shoulder goes right down that edge of the horse. You only have half the horse to work with on that. And if you look at that, every time he makes that weight shifts, it's exactly down the if you're looking at it from the top down, a top down view, the bottom half of that horse, and he lines that up awesome. Every single time he makes that weight shift, it's exactly the same initiation every time. Because once you start falling, it's almost impossible to recover it. So that from there, that push, he's going to go straight down the side of that horse. That right there has his left shoulder goes right down the edge of the horse. You only have, if you can spotlight me for a sec.
Yep.
You only have like an area like this big where your shoulders can be, and otherwise you're going to be off, and you're going to have to recover for it by either bending your arms or bending your legs, because that's all you got. That's all, however big the horse is. So
The way I kind of visualize that is, if you're to, look at your hand position on the horse, and let's say you're traveling this way. So if you take your hand positioning and you kind of like draw an arrow from your first hand to your second hand, whatever direction that arrow is pointing, that's the way your body's going to be traveling. So if you do something like this, where the arrow is not directly along the side of the horse, it's gonna pull you off the horse and force you to either have a form break to recover, or just simply not be able to make the skill.
All right, so guys, I just want to say I really appreciate everybody's contribution tonight. Nickolas, it's always a pleasure coaching with you and working with you. And Mr. Roth, it's an honor to have you here. To be able to work with you in this capacity is a true pleasure. And also Lou, to have you slide in from the interstellar galaxy is also pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, Dan, thanks so much. Nickolas, it was great to get your insight also. It's always great for me to get together with other coaches who have hearts that are trying to get the best they can for their kids. And Dan, what you're doing right now, especially with this craziness, I think it's awesome, man. Kudos to you. Let me know anytime I can help. I would love to jump on. I only wish you guys much success with your training, and just stay safe out there.
I never thought I'd have a Temple guy on here.
Yeah, boy.
All right, here we go. Lou, do you have any final things that you'd like to say to your peeps?
Keep on training. The body shapes and the tension are, and maintaining body tension to make weight shifts are the most important thing throughout all of your gymnastics. Tight, dynamic shape changes to pauses that are held, not just relaxed, but tight pauses. That's how you do gymnastics.
And Nickolas, our special guest, Nickolas Merryman, N.E.A.G, Region 6, Iowa Hawkeye, right? The big man. I appreciate all that you've done for your region.
Thank you. Couldn't have done it without you, so.
anytime we can do anything to support you and the guys at Iowa and in the NCAA, let us know, okay?
Awesome. Thank you so much again for this opportunity. Train hard, guys.